Hey everybody, how's it going? Ben here and welcome back to another PUBG update video. Today we are looking through the update 17.2 patch notes that have just been released by PUBG for PC and console. In here we've got the release timings, we've got the test server information, and we've got all of the contents of the upcoming update. We're going to go through all of that and show you a little bit of gameplay footage at the same time. So 17.2 is available for PC right now on the test server. You can download it and go and play on it right away. That is going to go live for PUBG PC next week on May the 11th. That's Wednesday, and then on console the following Thursday on May the 19th, following the normal schedule you see on updates these days for PUBG, where we get the test server for PC, the live release a week later on PC, and the console release the following Thursday, just the same as the previous update. There's quite a lot of stuff in this update, so I'll try and blitz through it. There's nothing massive, it's kind of a bitty update, but there's a lot of small bits in it, so we're going to skim through and try and cover everything. First up, we've got changes to tactical gear, or specifically the spotter scope. There was a lot of feedback about the spotter scope being a bit broken, and it definitely was. It was too easy to spot people. You could just spin around in a circle with it and you'd spot out 27 enemies that you couldn't even see, and it was just a bit silly. So they basically now changed it so that when you look through it, it doesn't automatically spot people. You have to hold down the fire key and it will do a scan, which takes a few seconds, and then anyone that it's in its line of sight when it scans will pop up with the white marker. If you then press the fire key again when you're looking at enemy, then it will tag them and they'll get the active marker, the red marker that your teammates can see, that will stay active for 3 seconds after you put the scope away. The white markers will disappear as soon as you put your scope away. They've also reduced the detection range for it from 1,000 meters down to 600 meters. This won't have any impact on console because the render distance on console is only 600 meters anyway, so I think that's no change for console, but a bit of a change for PC. Every time you scan and get a new set of markers, it will wipe the old markers, so you can't have loads and loads of markers up there. And if you move the spotter scope away from a passively marked target with the white icon and then back again, they will lose that mark as soon as you move the scope away from them. So it feels like some good balancing to me. It sounds like stuff that makes it work really as a bit more of a sensible kind of item. If you're into using the tactical gear, I don't really bother using any of it, but it does sound a little bit less broken now. So some positive changes on the spotter scope there from PUBG, in my opinion. Moving on, we have some weapon balancing stuff. They're talking about the 5.56 DMRs here. So this is the MK12 and the Mini 14, saying they weren't getting used as much as they hoped. So I feel like the MK12 gets used quite a lot, certainly on console. The Mini maybe not so much, but I think people are just taking the MK12 as preference at the moment. It's a bit new and exciting, but what they have changed is the increased recoil recovery. So that's going to be your recovery between shots for the MK12 has been increased slightly to help you out, and they've also rebalanced the recoil related speed, whatever that means. Mini 14 has had a slight damage buff from 47 to 48, so both the 5.56 DMRs have been improved very slightly. They've also got some changes to the Mortar. I'll be honest, when I started reading this, I was hoping they were just going to say they're going to take it out, but they've actually decided to make some changes to it, which might make it a bit more useful, and I don't think they're too bad. Basically what they've done is they've made it so that you can now put the Mortar into your inventory. So to deploy it, you still have to have it in a primary slot, so you'll drop your gun, but you can then take it and you can pop it in your bag and carry it like a normal item, and it weighs 50 weight. So you don't have to sacrifice having 2 weapons in order to use it. You can carry one around with you with your primary and secondary guns, and then when you do want to use it, you can deploy it, use it, and then pick your gun back up and whatever. So we'll probably make it a little bit more used. It's also going to be available on all maps except Haven for fairly obvious reasons. And they've also made some changes to the weight of the ammo is lowered down to 20, so you can carry it a bit more easily. And they've also made it so it's meant to be a bit easier to deploy. It was another criticism of the Mortar before, was that it was very hard to find any ground you could actually put it on. You can now put it down on a lot of different surfaces. You still can't put it on angled or hilly ground, so that might be a problem, particularly somewhere like Sanhok, but you should be able to deploy it a bit more easily now. Moving on to map changes, we're going to see Haven leaving and Vikendi coming in, which I'm sure a lot of people will be happy about. That'll leave us with no real small maps in rotation. Sanhok is kind of a medium map, I would argue. It's a little bit shorter duration, but it's nowhere near the scale of obviously Karakin and Haven. So probably a match pool that I think a lot of people are going to get on with Erangel, Miramar, Tago, old Sanhok, OG Sanhok, and Vikendi now in normal rotation. And then ranked is going to stay with Erangel, Miramar, and Tago. Next up, there's the this duck thing, B-Duck, which I don't know what that is. It's a big duck with a hat on. I guess it's probably some sort of Korean thing. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But I guess that's like a brand deal that they've decided to do, where there's now giant ducks in the water on Sanhok. So yeah, that's that. I guess that'll be there for a few weeks and then disappear, a bit like with the, what is the Vikendi one? The like Cacao Friends, where Vikendi Dino Park was like little happy fluffy bunny land for a few weeks. So I guess it's like that. There's some big ducks and, you know, whatever PUBG has to do to make a buck, I guess. Put some ducks in the water. Apparently, if nothing will happen if you attack the duck, but it kind of sounds sinister to me. That sounds like something might happen if you attack the duck. They've made some tweaks to weather and terrain texture on Miramar to reduce the map's glaring yellow shade, and adjusted some of the weathers on Paramore, Haven, and Karakin to represent a more realistic atmosphere. Training mode has also had some improvements. We've got the 1v1 arena. This was mentioned in the previous couple of patch notes, but we now have it live. This is an area in the training mode where you can go in, you can queue up, and you can 1v1 with strangers or with your buddies or whatever. You fight 3 rounds, and the best of those 3 wins. Looks kind of fun. You can go in with whatever weapons you previously spawn with, so you can choose your loadout, or if you don't have anything, then it automatically just gives you some stuff, I think like an M4 and some other default things. So that's going to be pretty fun, and you get 60 seconds per round. You get 200 HP, level 3 gear, so that's double your normal health, so you'll be quite tanky. But yeah, that should be kind of fun, I guess. Another nice thing that it mentions later on is that you can now create custom games in the training room. It's on a separate tab, but you can create a custom game in the training room, and then potentially in that you might be able to do 1v1s with people. Either that, or I assume it's not just a normal BR in the training room. I assume it's actually just a training mode map where you can do the 1v1 and stuff. Either that, or you'll be able to just play a game on the training room. So we'll find out once we get a chance to have a look at that. But definitely will be fun to have a few 1v1s in the training room. You could also play it whilst you're queuing for ranked. So once you're waiting for a ranked game, you can play 1v1s against people, and then you'll just get pulled out of that when ranked matchmaking is complete. You can spectate it as well. You can stand at the side and throw apples at people. It does pull you into a separate kind of zone when you do it, so I don't think you can just parachute into the 1v1 arena with, you know, an AWM and start messing around with people or drop C4s in there. It's kind of in its own little zone once you go into it, but you can stand there and I think you can throw apples at people. You can't kill them. You don't have a rock like in Warzone, but you can stand there and throw apples at your friends whilst they 1v1. Another nice feature for the training mode is map teleportation. You can now pull up the map and click on these different highlighted areas, like the different ranges, the car area where you can shoot the car targets, the vehicle depots where you get a few cars, the aim and sound lab, and all this different stuff. You can just click on it and teleport immediately there, which is a great little feature. And you can also select from this list on the left on PC only as well. The aim and sound lab scoring system has been tweaked, so you basically now get extra points for different things. If you hit headshots, you get more points. If you hit 2 targets quickly, then you get extra points and stuff like this. So it basically gives you a much more higher and interesting score now, rather than just, you know, hitting 30 targets and that was kind of all you could do or whatever. So now you'll be able to get a much more interesting kind of looking score from playing in that. One of the bigger things to see in this update is there's going to be a new Survivor Pass already, which is great. Kind of bizarre after the last Survivor Pass. I'm sure we had a drought of what, like 3 months or more with no Survivor Pass, and then we just had a Survivor Pass like what seems like a month ago and maybe a little bit more, and now we've got a new one coming already, which is great. So if they're going to keep doing Survivor Passes every month, every 6 weeks or so, I think that's fantastic. So very happy. It's Galaxy Squad it's called, so it's going to be all kind of sci-fi spacey kind of vibe, and yeah, looking forward to checking that out. Everyone loves a Survivor Pass. I think they're great value compared to contraband crates, which are definitely not great value, and it gives you an opportunity to get a bunch of different wearables and little bits and bobs that you can get for very cheap, and you tend to get a little bit of G-Coin back from completing them as well. So it only really costs you a few dollars and you get quite a lot of stuff for that. If you do want to buy any of this stuff in game and you're enjoying this video, a great way to support our channel is by adding our PUBG creator code. It's very easy to do. You only have to do it once and then it's kind of done forever. So if you do want to do that, I'll put a little trailer at the end of this video that just tells you exactly how you can do that. Big thank you to anybody who has done that already or does go and do it. It does help us out a lot and makes a real difference to the content that I can bring you. Probably the most controversial addition, certainly in my mind, is the Throwables timer. So this got hinted at a little while ago and it has now come to fruition. This is a cooking timer for grenades and stuns. So now when you throw a grenade, or rather when you cook a grenade, you'll get this little bar pop up that will gradually fill up and it will show you exactly when that grenade is going to explode. This is something that's been added to try and help new players, learn the game a little bit more easily, but for some reason it's available to everybody. I think maybe if this had been added as something where it was only up to level 50 or level 100 you got it and then it disappeared, but nope, it's available to everyone. It's not in ranked or esports mode, but now everyone can throw perfectly timed grenades all the time, which I think is terrible. I hate it. I think learning cooking times and judging it on grenades is a real nice skill you can learn in PUBG, and now that skill is being completely thrown in the bin. So really disappointed to see that. It's a shame. All the the years of experience people have in getting good with frags is now completely meaningless, and a level 1 Larry can now throw an immaculately cooked frag perfectly every single time. So yeah, disappointed with that obviously, but what can you do? It's PUBG. They're not going to change it, so you're just going to have to roll with that one. Another weird little change they've made is loot recommendation. You can turn this on. It's not on by default, but you can turn it on, and it means certain things on the ground will be highlighted slightly more differently. So it basically puts a little yellow arrow above things if there's something you need. You can already highlight stuff on the ground anyway, depending on what settings you have, so it's not a huge change. But if the thing on the ground is an improved bit of armor, or if it's ammo for something you actually have, then it will show this little yellow icon, little yellow arrow above that item. It's quite subtle, so I don't think it's really going to change too much, but it's a little thing you can turn on if you want, and it might make it slightly easier to see things. Mostly just a thing, I think, for newer players maybe who might be struggling. Another reasonably major gameplay change, I guess, maybe that's pushing it, but it is kind of significant. It's something we've all got used to not being in the game. You can now use meds whilst in the driver's seat of cars. You can take bandages, any drinks, painkillers, and syringes. Whilst you're driving, you don't have to switch to the passenger seat to take them. You can now just do it while you drive along. So yeah, cool. Why not? I don't see a problem with it really. Kind of makes sense. Doesn't, you can shoot a gun while you're in the driver's seat. So why not, take an energy drink or use a bandage? You can only do it kind of while driving in a straight line. It cancels it if you turn, if you brake and stuff like that. But you can accelerate still. You don't have to coast like if you're doing a drive-by. You can keep driving at full whack as long as you're in a straight line. Pretty much like people medding in the other seats, but I think it's a little bit less forgiving perhaps because it seemed to cancel it if I turned at all rather than drove in a completely straight line. Other than that, there's a load of little tweaks and bug fixes. I'll let you have a look through if you're interested. I'll put the full patch notes link down in the description below. Keep in mind at the moment there's a bug on it, so once you get to the bottom of the patch notes, they start again, and it is everything a second time. So you don't need to go through it twice. It's just the same stuff, I can assure you. So that's everything for today. Let me know what you think about the patch in the comments down below, and thanks very much for watching. I'll be streaming this as soon as it is live, so do keep an eye on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/thebeardguys. Thank you so much for watching. My name's Ben. We are the Beard Guys, and I'll see you next time. I just wanted to drop you all a quick message to tell you about our PUBG creator code. As a PUBG partner, we have a creator code which you can add to your account, which means whenever you purchase anything in game, PUBG will give us a commission. Whether you're buying season passes, G-Coin bundles, or anything else that requires cash in PUBG, if you have our code added, then you'll be helping us out without costing yourself a penny extra. It's a great way to support the channel, and it really does help keep us making PUBG content for you. Plus, it's easy to set up and you'll only ever have to do it once. To add our code, first visit accounts.pubg.com and then log in or create an account. Once you've logged in, connect your Xbox, PlayStation or Steam account on the linked accounts tab, then go to the Creator Appreciation Program section and type the Beard Guys into the box or find us from the drop-down list. Then just click submit and you're all done. A massive thank you to everybody who has used our code. Your support is absolutely vital for us and it really makes a huge difference.